Hello guys, today we're going to tell you a really interesting news story. In a time long ago, in a land of mystery and wonder, a humble fisherman embarked on a day that would forever change his fate. This is the story of a fisherman, his net, and the powerful genie that lay beneath the sea. Our story begins with a poor but hardworking fisherman. Every day, he cast his net into the sea, hoping to catch enough fish to feed his family. But despite his efforts, he lived in poverty, barely scraping by. One day, as the sun began to sink toward the horizon, the fisherman cast his net into the water, praying for a good catch. To the fisherman's surprise, his net was heavier than usual. He struggled to pull it to shore, his heart racing with anticipation. But when he finally saw his catch, it was not fish at all. It was an old, sealed brass jar. The fisherman was disappointed at first, thinking he had found nothing of value. But upon closer inspection, he saw that the jar was sealed with a strange wax emblem and ancient writing covered its surface. His curiosity got the better of him, and with a twist, he broke the seal. No sooner had he opened the jar than thick black smoke poured out, rising high into the sky. The fisherman stumbled back in fear as the smoke began to take shape. It grew taller and more menacing, until finally, standing before him was a mighty genie, his form towering over the stunned fisherman. The fisherman trembled as the genie stretched its arms, freed from its prison after countless years. But to the fisherman's horror, the genie did not thank him for releasing it. Instead, the genie's booming voice filled the air, declaring, "Now that I am free, I shall kill you." The fisherman, terrified, begged the genie for mercy. He had expected gratitude for freeing the genie, but instead, the genie explained its grim fate. Long ago, the genie had been trapped in the jar by the great King Solomon as punishment for defying his orders. For the first 100 years of his imprisonment, the genie vowed to reward anyone who freed him with riches beyond imagination. But as centuries passed with no one opening the jar, the genie's heart turned bitter. By the time he had reached the 4th century of his imprisonment, he swore to kill whoever released him. Realizing his life was in great danger, the fisherman desperately tried to think of a way to save himself. He knew he could not overpower the genie, so he decided to rely on his wit. The fisherman quickly came up with a plan. He pretended to be confused and said, "How could such a great and powerful genie fit inside such a small jar? I don't believe you ever came from there." The genie, filled with arrogance and pride, laughed at the fisherman's doubt. "Do you question my power? Watch, and I will show you." With that, the genie began to transform into a thick cloud of smoke once again. Slowly, the smoke swirled and shrank, twisting back into the jar from which it had been released. As soon as the genie had returned to the jar, the fisherman acted swiftly. He grabbed the lid and slammed it shut, sealing the genie back inside with the wax emblem. The genie roared in anger from inside the jar, demanding to be released. But the fisherman had learned his lesson. He refused to let the genie out, knowing that it would mean certain death. The fisherman, still trembling but feeling more confident, called out to the genie, "I will not release you until you promise to do me no harm and reward me for freeing you." The genie, desperate to escape his prison once again, swore an oath that he would not harm the fisherman and would even grant him a reward. After some hesitation, the fisherman decided to trust the genie's word. He unsealed the jar once more, and the genie emerged, this time calmer than before. True to his word, the genie led the fisherman to the sea. There, the genie showed him a hidden lake filled with exotic fish like none the fisherman had ever seen before. The genie told the fisherman that if he cast his net into this lake, he would catch fish of incredible beauty and value. The fisherman did as the genie said and pulled in a net filled with fish of every color: red, blue, gold, and white. The genie told him to take these fish to the sultan, for they would bring him great wealth and favor. Following the genie's advice, the fisherman brought his catch to the sultan. When the sultan saw the extraordinary fish, he was amazed and immediately rewarded the fisherman with gold and gifts. The fisherman's life of poverty was over, and he lived in comfort from that day forward. And so, the humble fisherman, through his courage and cleverness, escaped a terrible fate and found a fortune he never imagined. His story reminds us of the power of quick thinking and the wisdom of never underestimating even the most ordinary among us. In the end, it was not strength but cleverness that saved the fisherman from the wrath of the genie. In this, we learn that sometimes the mind is the greatest weapon of all. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment.